Welcome to Red Eye. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Shalhoub. Let's check in with TV's Andy Levy over at the Red Eye Tees deck. Andy?
Thanks, Tom. Coming up on the big show, Sean Spicer is confronted in an Apple store by a woman seeking answers to Trump's ties to Russia. Turns out not everyone in those stores is a genius. Plus, the U.S. Soccer Federation bans kneeling during the national anthem. I don't really care as long as they can't ban me from changing the channel when soccer comes on.
Oh, man.
Don't like soccer. And finally, a college removes a scale from the gym because it could be triggering. We'll weigh the pros and cons. Sorry, didn't mean to offend. We'll look at the pros and cons next. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you, Andy. Let's welcome our guests. She's been called a magazine star, one of the city's most influential women by Oxygen TV, and a liberal lunatic by some late-night TV host. Journalist and author Kathy Aru.
Thank you.
He took the Toys R Us jingle to heart. Adult child and comedian Joe Mackey. He's like Elvis. It was a big deal when he went to Korea, and he'll probably die on a toilet. Observer columnist Michael Malice. And he's the most interesting man in the world, slightly less interesting little brother. Sitting right next to me is comedian Joe DeVito, only slightly. Okay, let's start the show. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer went to an Apple store on Saturday and met a woman who's still on the fence about the Trump administration.
Have you helped with the Russia stuff? Are you a criminal as well? Have you committed treason too, just like the president?
Thank you.
Have you committed treason too? What can you tell me about Russia?
Such a great country to live in.
Yeah, what can you tell me about Russia, Mr. Secretary?
Thank you very
What can you
much.
tell me? You know you work for a fascist, right? You work for a fascist.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about
Palm
that?
Beach, right?
How do you feel about destroying our country, Sean? How do you feel about that? Do you feel good about the decisions you're making?
Thank you guys
About
very much.
lying to the
Appreciate it.
American
Thank you for
people?
having me.
Do you feel good about lying to the American people? Do you feel...
I don't think he answered any of her questions.
Typical.
The woman, Sri Chauhan, tweeted out the video and later wrote an online essay about it. She was troubled that Spicer had said to her, "The United States is such a great country that allows you to be here." Her response? "That is racism, and it is an implied threat. I was not polite. But when does being impolite mean that I should be thrown out of the United States of America?" It means it's starting today, doesn't it? Michael Malice, look, she's asking the questions a lot of people in the press haven't had the guts to ask, like, have you helped with the Russia stuff?
The Russia stuff, yeah. So last week also, Shia LaBeouf, he had that whole thing about Trump, he will not divide us. And 4chan figured out, just based on flight patterns, where that was, and they dumped the MAGA hat on top of his flag. This woman, putting herself out there in her name, is setting herself up for online trolls to destroy her entire reputation. And hopefully that happens as quickly as possible.
Wow!
Because we need less of these cretins in this country.
What?
The best thing Trump has done is make civil discourse an impossibility, and that's how you get freedom. When you stop having the government the ability to impose its will on the citizenry.
There you go. Well, you know, I think that Sean Spicer was a lot more tolerant of her. Don't you think, Kathy?
Well, he's used to talking to people like that in Skype in the press room, so that was very, very comfortable for him. A comfortable position.
You're referring to the fact that Sean Spicer has opened up
to anybody
the press room
with
to the
a
press in
Skype.
unprecedented ways.
Right. Anyone with a Skype can do the same thing. So she's not unlike the people, but she asked the tough questions,
Yeah.
unlike those little Skypers in his press room.
Yeah,
So
it was
a
about
little uncomfortable
fascism.
for him.
Have you committed treason too? He hasn't been asked that one, has he?
No, I don't think so. And I think those are the questions that need to be asked from this administration. And I was proud of her for doing that.
Wait, were you really proud of her? She's a bit of a pain, isn't she?
She was a little weird. She was a little odd. But it was so great that, like, it wasn't someone that he handpicked and chose. It was someone out of the blue. And
Yeah.
he's a star now. He's like Justin Bieber.
Right.
And she's a believer. And he's going to have to answer the tough questions.
It's true. He does.
Yeah.
I thought he did well. I think it's great that he's going into Apple Store and he's getting his own iPods.
Yeah, in her case, a little hard to speak truth to power at the Apple store. What's it like to work for fascists? What's it like to use a phone made by slave labor?
See, you would have got her.
Oh, it's absurd. And this whole, who is the bully here? that she's got to come up and why don't you keep doing this? Why don't you keep doing that? Eh?
Yeah.
And you know why they do that? And they act like they're so brave when they do this. But they do this because, conservatives just take it.
Yeah.
No one's going to arrest her. He's not even going to yet raise his voice at her. But they act like they're standing in front of a tank in Tiananmen Square and they're just being annoying to someone.
That's right. It's like when you're out with a woman and she starts a fight with some big dude.
Yeah, and you have to run. It's embarrassing.
But nothing happened to the tank man either, by the way. He got away with it.
He did?
Yeah, he did. He wasn't part of the massacre in Tiananmen Square.
Oh, and he's making iPhones to this day.
How are you always able to debunk these heroes of
I know
the
only
last
about
century?
North Korea and a little bit about China. That's the list.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, what's happening?
I'll tell you what, it didn't. You have to think that Sean Spicer would have a plan because you know this is going to happen. You're a public figure. Lots of people don't like you. Have a plan when someone says, "Are you comedian Joe Mackey?" I'm like, "I'm not." I get that all the time. He must be pretty easy on the eye, though.
Yeah, that's right. Do they come up to you and try to periscope? They ask you questions?
Yeah, they're like, "Wow, you're funny. Tell me how you do it." And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Tom, what camera is Mackie on?
Well, I think he's just thinking. That's the way he thinks, right? Isn't that right, Joe?
Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to think. Well, look,
If I'm even Joe Mackey.
yeah. Although you'd be good at dealing with this. I mean, you're a comedian, so what happens when people call out during the show? They do what's called heckling.
Yeah, it's tough. It would be tough for me to answer questions like that because they were a little loaded.
Yeah.
And like, why are you so bad?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, probably not gonna change your mind.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
it's
haters
true.
gonna hate. You
It's
gotta
true.
shake it off, Sean Spicer.
He
Shake it off.
has to shake it off, and I think he's quite good at doing that. And I was proud of the way he handled that. Okay, moving on. On Monday, Spicer held a press briefing, but Newsmax columnist John Gizzi stole the show. That's him with the glasses behind the woman asking a question. Check this out. Oh, pretty smooth. People on Twitter were impressed, and the video went viral. Some guy added music.
Hold up. Hey. Hold up. Hey.
That's a gift.
Yeah, it is. Gizzy's glasses trick is cool, I guess, but I think I can do better. I think I did that, Joe.
It's pretty good. You may
Pretty
have
skilled, right?
permanent forehead damage from that.
Exactly.
Little Botox.
It takes skills, the kind of skills Gizzy doesn't have, right? Hey, you got did you ever work the glasses? I mean, you use that to your. What do you do?
I work the glasses.
You work them.
I do.
Do you have to wear them all the time?
Yeah, otherwise I bump into stuff.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
But why did he have them up on his head like that if they're not reading glasses? Why do you put them up like that?
Clear thoughts.
Yeah.
It helps clarify your thoughts when they come directly through the head.
Yeah. Okay, now it's time for. I'm sure you've seen this video of a BBC interviewee being interrupted by his kids. It went mega viral this weekend and followed a familiar path from amused to outraged. But this one was unique in that it did it in record time. This Twitter user helped show us just how quickly the LOLing turned to scolding. 7:40 a.m. tweet. Watch BBC News pundit's children crash his interview, and it's the best thing ever. Then at 11:12 a.m., same tweeter. The BBC pundit's children video is not funny. It's patriarchy in a nutshell. Let's go through the video, and I can show why this dad's actually a hero. 1, the girl is the coolest. Look at that walk. He's obviously raising an awesome, confident daughter with a strong sense of purpose. That gait, I love it. 2, this gesture was said to be proof of the patriarchy. That is not true. The hand says, Daddy's busy. Not all time is playtime. Stay out of his way when he's working. That's a good message for kids, that they're not number one. Adults are. 3, they let their baby tool around in a walker with wheels on it. I know all the pediatricians today want those things banned, but I certainly loved mine. Yeah, my parents actually let me go outside in that. And I was able to walk into traffic. Believe me, that's one way to learn that actions have consequences.
Good old days.
4, the incredible mom slide. Of course, the anti-patriarchy leftists on the internet showed how racist they really are when they called her the nanny. They were calling her the help. I knew it was the mom the minute she flew into that room. Because she loves her man. That's why she slides like that. Now, close the door and leave Daddy alone. Kathy?
Yeah.
Look, there was all sorts of things in this, in the complaints of this. There was a lot of social justice warriors out there,
Right.
but I found them sexist.
Yes.
And I found them racist. They just because the woman was Asian, I knew it was the mom.
It's because people aren't used to seeing mixed marriages. They're not used to Ricky Ricardo and Lucy anymore. We need more of that. And 40
The old
years
days,
ago,
right?
The old days, people would have known that's the mom. But we don't have Ricky Ricardo anymore. People don't know.
Yeah.
But you could actually marry people from other backgrounds. It's okay.
It's okay. You know what?
It's all
She
right.
should be more like Lucy, because the mom then would come in
Yeah.
and she would want to be on the TV. Like,
Yeah.
remember Lucy always wanted to be a part of his show?
He has some explaining to do.
It is so true. Michael?
First of all, I mean, of course they're going to think she's the nanny because she didn't have any delivery menus with her, so she's the not delivery guy. And if this was an Asian mom for real, when's the last time you saw a kid disobey their Asian mom? That doesn't happen on Earth. My high school was half Asian, and all those kids, stepped in line.
Tiger
They weren't
Mom,
doing
right?
this walking around thing.
Well, it shows you they got a cool family, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, cool moms don't always raise good kids.
Yeah. Side note, he was talking about North Korea. Was he making points? This guy, did you watch the video?
I only saw the gifts.
Oh, you did? he was
really talking about North
he was
Korea?
talking about North Korea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Your
Well,
thing.
I'm sure everything he said was true, but to a point.
Yes. Joe, what did this video, what does it say about us as a culture?
Well, if you go by those two tweets, clearly the author was saying the patriarchy's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
She went
Amen, brother.
backpedaling on that.
Amen.
I think it's great. It looks like first of all the child comes in doing the billionaire strut like she's Vince McMahon. So
Yes.
it's and then when the one comes wheeling in like the zombie breach, it's hysterical. It's
too good.
But I do think it shows that weird strain of liberal racism, that projection that, of course, she couldn't be anything but the nanny.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, and I think we have the video, of another great moment in liberal projecting racism. This was Kelly Osbourne on The View, I believe.
Oh, run that video.
Oh, this is
If you
great.
kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that,
No.
you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
There's more jobs to be.
in LA, they always,
But
they don't.
Latinos are not only the
No,
only people
I didn't mean it
doing
like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it like that. Okay. I'm not part of this argument with.
I think what you're saying is that Trump himself
He needs to look at
probably realizes a lot of these people that he's insulting. I think
See, now that tells you how her mind works.
Yeah.
Her mind is she's grown up living in a mansion. Of course, the Latino people are the ones who cleaned your toilets.
There's no
And the people
Ricky
commenting on that, they're not used to the idea that there could be a happy marriage between a man and a woman of two different races. They can't comprehend that.
Yeah.
Well, what we really saw there was a cute moment in this family. And just the way she does the dive at the end, the way they're all sort of in this together, I thought it was really wonderful. But if they want to ruin everything, that's on them.
They want to ruin everything.
You should cut Kelly Osbourne some slack.
Under no
She's a
circumstances.
portly junkie. She's not had an
Not
easy
anymore.
life.
Look.
She's too strung out.
Oh,
I think she's okay, but you got to know that if you make a comment and then you follow it with, in the sense that what I meant was, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
it was instantaneous. Like it went from mic drop to
But it's very common with the left where they preach anti-racism, and it's anti-racism as long as they're still the ones running the show. It's Pelosi, it's Harry Reid, Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
You don't actually have minorities in leadership positions.
Ay, Dios mío, not true.
did you make the assumption about this when you saw the video?
No, and I'm the liberal loon. I did not.
Yeah.
I did not make that assumption. I was like, oh, the kids, it looks like a nice mixed marriage, a diverse family.
Yes.
Lovely. And that's teamwork. It was teamwork.
I think it's great.
So no, not all liberals made that jump.
What did you think, Joe, of the rumor that the guy didn't get up because he wasn't wearing any pants?
I'll tell you what, I made my own assumptions because history has shown that nothing has ever gone wrong when you see a 20-second clip and you infer a whole bunch of different things about something you know nothing about.
Really? Yes.
I decided that wasn't even his wife and kids. He's living in his brother's basement where he set up a news studio with an adorable map of the world to make it look official.
Exactly. Okay. Moving on. Soccer is a fringe sport that few children in America play. Did Andy write this? Recently, the U.S. Soccer Federation announced it was banning players from national anthem protests. Last fall, star Megan Rapinoe, that's right, Megan Rapinoe knelt before several of her team's matches in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. U.S. Soccer didn't approve. They've now added a new policy stating all persons representing a federation national team shall stand respectfully during the playing of national anthems at any event in which the federation is represented. And that's the end of that issue. Wow, that solves it, right, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're working for any organization, what are you going to say? Like, I'm not going to wear this outfit because it's got the American flag on it? You absolutely have to obey the dictates, whether arbitrary or not. It's just as simple as that.
Well, how did they get away with it then in the, the NFL?
Because they're cowards when it comes to someone who's of color grandstanding.
Isn't that it?
Yes.
They're cowards in the NFL.
Absolutely. And I don't know if this next season Colin Kaepernick will be, he says he won't protest the national anthem, which would probably be O Canada or wherever he ends up playing. I don't know where national anthem they play in the Arena League.
Yes.
Yeah, to the idea that you can be a rebel and pick up a paycheck at the same time, it's absurd. Where is your actual sacrifice? You're representing the United States national team, so if you did your choices, then don't take the gig. Right. And I'll take all these protests more seriously when there's a cost. Like the idea that, oh, I'm going to protest and not go to work, or I'm going to have a school protest. I'll believe them when they have them on a Saturday. But when they have them midweek or when you're picking up a paycheck, it's just Mardi Gras in a vagina costume, and you're walking around looking like a pink chili dog. It's absolutely absurd.
Mardi Gras, that might make Mardi Gras fun, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Kathy, you're shaking your head. But look, what do you think of these protests? The Federation says no, you can't protest.
Okay, they can't, but I don't understand why we have the national anthem anyway during a game. I mean, it's a war chant. No one knows all the words anyway. It's confusing. Are you supposed to put your hand on your heart? I don't get it. Why can't they sing, like, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, something that makes sense with a theme?
Well, wait a minute.
We're not going into war. You're just playing a game. It's a World War II thing. It's outdated. They shouldn't have it.
But they're representing the United States.
To the United States. They're playing each other. They're not going to war
the
with
U.S.
Britain.
national team. They're playing other countries.
Yeah, like baseball's a national, international sport.
Well, it is. I like the game and the flag. It's my favorite part is the national anthem. What do you think, Joe?
I like it. I think they should play it, but it just seems weird to me to have a song about freedom where you tell people how they have to behave. I don't like the protests, but I think you have your right to do that. And if you listen to the lyrics of the song, it's the home of the brave and the land of the free. And if you're free, you still get to do things that not everybody likes all the time.
Wait a minute.
You're free to get fired.
No, what's going on? What are we going to do?
To get fired.
Michael,
Yeah,
yes.
you're free to get your ass kicked.
And the thing is, everyone, people in the stands, they all get up. I mean, it's they're free to do it, but we can shame them for it. Isn't that right, Michael?
I agree with Cassie. I'm not a big national anthem kind of guy because I think it's hokey and silly. But I mean, if you want to protest.
Do you know the words?
Of course I know the words.
I don't know all the words.
Well, it's easily findable.
All the words
it's on the internet.
What are you kidding me? They never stopped saying it.
Well,
The flag was still
like some people on the panel.
What's so bad? It's not even about it's not glorifying war. It's saying the flag was still there in the morning.
It's a war chant. It doesn't belong in a game. It's just
Games are sports are. It used to be that the losing team was literally killed.
Well, I don't want to go back there.
Yeah, Michael's demise, the Aztecs.
We're not doing that now.
Well, let's bring that back.
I don't know.
Jeez.
Maybe you should talk to some Jets fans.
Thank you. Yes. I like that
That's what it
metaphor.
feels like sometimes, right? All right, coming up. Internet addiction. Should we all go cold turkey or mainline that modem? The debate is next. And my first book, Mean Dads for a Better America, is available for pre-order at tomshalou.com. Go there, get it. It's hard to believe the internet didn't exist 10 years ago. Now we can't get enough of it. Facebook, cat videos, checking the weather. I think that pretty much covers everything. But all this time online might not be great for us. At least that's the theory of New York Times columnist Ross Douthat. He's calling for a digital temperance movement to help wean us off our addiction so we can get better. And so we can better experience the traditional graces of existence, your spouse, and friends and children, the natural world, good food, great art. Among Douthat's suggestions, keep computers out of college lecture halls, put special phone boxes in restaurants where patrons would be expected to deposit their devices, and confiscate smartphones being used in museums and libraries and cathedrals. He also wants kids to grow up in the real world rather than the virtual one, writing, the age of consent should be 16, not 13 for Facebook accounts. Kids under 16 shouldn't be allowed on gaming networks. High school students shouldn't bring smartphones to school. Kids under 13 shouldn't have them at all. So, what would kids do without the internet? Take a look.
looks like us right now.
Nice.
Looks like a wonderful world.
Good. How about smaller guitars, for Pete's sake? Can we hook them up?
No, it's just one side. They're going to grow into them. Kathy, you were nodding your head like this during
was lovely.
Mr. Douthat. Well, you agreed with him.
No, well, I mean, the funny part is I kind of agreed with him. Yes, we should get to know nature, and it's beautiful in concept. But he wrote it on his computer that he expected me to read on my iPhone or some other device. So had I listened to his advice before he actually wrote the story, I would have read the story. So there goes his theory.
Are you sure he did write it on his computer? He didn't write it out longhand on a piece of legal paper?
Right, but he turned it over to someone with a device.
Okay.
I mean, there was a device involved.
I see. Makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what's funny? When I was researching this today, I did a search on Ross Douthat, and I wanted to catch him on his phone, and I couldn't find a picture of him anywhere. He never uses the phone. The guy may practice what he preaches.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joe?
I think he makes a good point that we are raising a generation of pasty-faced hunchbacks because they're all twisted in like this. But the problem is the real world gets terrible Yelp reviews. It's very harsh out there. And every now and then I think, like, maybe I'm going to go off the grid, and I realize I'm barely keeping myself alive using, Groupon and Snapchat and all these things. So I think what's interesting in the article, they mentioned that all the Silicon Valley people send their kids to these schools where they're writing on chalkboards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So maybe they know something.
Yes.
If they're sending their kids there.
Well, they know they do it too much. I mean, at home, I'm the one on the phone. My kids aren't because they don't have phones. I won't give them phones. They can't have a phone. My kids complain, they don't get it.
Although if you change the age from 13 to 16, there goes half my Facebook following. So I'm not crazy about that idea.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we depend on these things,
Absolutely.
and we know that it's a problem. But what did you do when you rode the subway before you had a phone?
Well, you had to. I don't remember. I guess you had your Walkman, with the big cassettes.
People did. They had their Walkman.
Here's my theory about his article.
Old school.
The failing New York Times and all these places are freaking out because corporate media is losing its luster.
Yeah.
And you have alternative sources of information, and he's getting attacked daily on Twitter, on social media. It would be a shame if someone tweeted awful things to him right now.
You're sicking your army on them.
Yeah, and the New York Times is being exposed as a bias-ridden, horrible rag.
Yeah.
So it's driving them crazy, and this is like Oz saying, don't look behind the curtain, pay attention only to us, and don't look at these other websites which are exposing us as having an agenda.
You started talking, and I thought you weren't making sense, but you are making sense. Of course,
That's the trick.
The mainstream media doesn't like these
Corporate
devices
media,
because it's opening it up, Joe, and everybody can get the news their own way, and they can tweet each other about what they think is important.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm tired of people saying, Joe, get your head out of your phone. I mean, it's like 7 of the greatest inventions combined in one. Like, I've got, like, my TV, like, thousands of books. Yeah, it might be more interesting than your conversation. Maybe try to be a little more entertaining, and I won't have to, like, stop paying attention.
Isn't that true? I was out at a bar the other night, and a guy yelled at me for going to my phone. And I said, you're a boring guy. He was boring the heck out of me, so I had to check my mail.
I'm right here.
Huh? No, it wasn't you. It was a guy.
Somebody else too?
It was a stranger.
It's not failing.
Wait a
They said
minute.
Subscriptions are up digitally.
It's
You're
failing in
doing
terms
great.
of the reputation.
Oh.
They're having trouble, the New
was
York
that?
Times, right?
They
Kathy?
said they're
As are
fine.
all the
They
major
said they're
newspapers.
fine.
And
They
of
said-
course you can
but
believe
not
them.
digitally. Digitally, they depend on those devices.
Yeah.
So that guy is like hurting his company.
What do you think of the age 13, though? The kids under 13,
I didn't
nothing.
even know that was the rule. I didn't know they were on Facebook at 13. That kind of scares me now about my followers.
So you agree? It should be 16, right? Yeah.
I think it should be 18.
You know, when you think about it, the Unabomber did his manifesto longhand, so it can be done.
It can be done. Yes, you can get a lot done.
With boxes.
On an old
With
Corona. Okay,
boxes.
coming up. Halftime with TV's Andy Levy. Welcome back. Time to find out what we got wrong and what we missed from TV's Andy Levy over in the Red Eye News Deck. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good.
You all set for the blizzard?
I'm not set for it.
I know. None of us are.
Probably snowing already, Andy.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Coming down.
Yep. Sean Spicer ambushed in an Apple store. Malice, everything you said in this segment was insane, but I want to focus on one important thing. You said this country needs less cretins.
Yes.
It should be fewer.
Okay.
I thought that was the most important thing to get out there.
I can name one.
Who?
Bill Clinton.
All right, fair enough. We agree. Kathy, you said you were proud of this girl for asking these questions.
Yes, someone
Really?
had to.
I thought the video was unwatchable, or more to the point, like unlistenable. Did you help with the Russia stuff?
Well, I mean, it's a lot like the Skyping. Those are unwatchable and unlistenable. Listenable?
What Skypings?
The Skyping in the White House. The Skyping with Sean Spicer.
Oh, yeah, I don't watch that either. Got better things to do with my day.
Okay.
DeVito, you said that these people act like they're standing in front of a tank in Tiananmen Square. Yeah, this is something I've been harping on for a while now, so I'm going to do it again. It's this hero complex that people have sort of developed over the past 6 months or so, where they think sending a tweet or doing something like this makes them they're in the resistance during World War II.
Oh yeah, they're going to be wearing berets while they tweet and striped crew neck shirts.
Yeah, I also think, I don't know if you've seen, I've shown it on the show before, I should have had them bring it up, Keith Olbermann's Twitter icon, where he's just wrapped in the American flag and it says hashtag the resistance. And comedians should just quit because nothing will ever be funnier than that.
It's like they're resisting the impulse to act like an adult.
It is, it's just unreal. Tom, I'm guessing you think Spicer's comment when he said America is a great country that allows her to be here, that what he meant was, he didn't mean here in the country, he meant here in the Apple Store taping him.
Yeah, I mean it's clear. He's saying, look, I'd like you to be here and do this, he said, or ask these questions.
Is there nothing you won't defend, no matter how low it... I'm just kidding, I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. Yeah. That BBC video, I'm in the minority here, I know. I didn't think the video was all that great to begin with.
Oh.
I know. What's wrong with me?
I didn't think that wife looked like Fran Drescher at all. What? Like they said, the nanny's busting in. I thought this is. Oh God, that's a reference. That's fake news.
Malice, thank you for admitting you didn't watch the video that we were doing the story on. Just for that, you are not getting paid.
They paid me in advance.
Yep. You can't be a rebel and get a paycheck, I've been told.
Yes. Good thing I'm established.
Yes. Mackie, you said you decided this wasn't even this guy's wife and kids and that he set up a news studio in his brother's basement.
It looked very amateurish.
Yeah, that is not true. I did some checking.
Okay.
I just wanted to...
Well, I mean, I don't, the whole point is I don't care about the facts.
Right. The whole point is I do.
Fair enough.
Told.
None of this fake news on my watch, buddy.
He's gonna hit you.
The U.S. Soccer Federation bans national anthem protest. Malice, I agree with you. When you play for a national team, you stand for the anthem. In fact, what the Federation rule says is, quote, all persons representing a Federation national team shall stand respectfully during the playing of national anthems at any event, blah, blah, blah. That means you stand during the playing of any anthem, not just your own, which seems right to me for members of a national team. But then you said that they're cowards in the NFL for not stopping Colin Kaepernick. And that's where I disagree with you. I have no problem with professional athletes protesting during the game. I don't have a problem with Kaepernick doing it during an NFL game. I don't have a problem with Rapinoe doing it during a women's soccer game that's not, you know, that's from the National Women's Soccer League or whatever it is. But it's just, to me, that's wholly different than when you're out there representing your country.
Sure, but I don't really know who Colin Kaepernick is.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough then.
Andy, how about standing during rock anthems?
You can always stand during rock anthems. Yeah.
There you go. We can all agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Kathy, you said they just need to stop playing the national anthem at sporting events.
Altogether.
Just a heads up, I suggested that a while ago, back when we did the Kaepernick story. I got some really fun responses on Twitter.
Cool,
so you have that to look forward to.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. DeVito, why can't you be a rebel and also pick up a check?
Because it's too comfortable. You can be a rebel without a cause, but you can't be a rebel with a 401k and paid vacation days and all that stuff. There has to be some sort of sacrifice, especially if you're going to act like you're Rosa Parks. Anything else?
Snap.
Feisty today.
I don't understand the idea that you can't have a job and also be a rebel.
Yeah, you can do that, but you can also get fired from that job.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with that.
Be a free agent.
Ross Douthat calls for digital temperance. Kathy, you said had you listened to Douthat's advice, you wouldn't have read his story since you read it on a computer, and he probably wrote it on a computer.
Right.
Yeah, but he's not calling for some Luddite-like return to the pre-electronic era. He's just calling for moderation.
For a pause? A pause?
A pause?
Is that like the Muslim ban is a pause? Like we're changing words? He's asking for a pause?
No, he's asking for moderation, for temperance.
Right, temperance, yeah. But if I would have done the temperance, I wouldn't have read his story because I would have been pausing from my device.
Okay, but that's not what he's saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Tom, you asked what you did on a subway before the iPhone.
Yeah.
You read a damn book.
Yeah. I don't remember the paperbacks. I would buy paperbacks based on their lightness and ability to fit in a pocket.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No Atlas Shrugged for you.
No. I mean, yes, I wanted to take it. I used to, you know, if I had Atlas Shrugged, I'd rip it in half.
Yeah.
I'd read one half and, you know,
sounds about
save
right.
the other.
Most of those romance books are pretty short.
Yeah.
Malice, I want to ask you something. Douthit writes, a digital temperance movement would start by resisting the wiring of everything and seek to create more spaces in which internet use is illegal, discouraged, or taboo. Here's my thing. I'm fine with the discouraged or taboo part. I think there are a lot of places where that makes perfect sense. Movie theaters, for instance.
100%.
But he has to go a step further and he has to say illegal.
Right.
Because he's some kind of nanny conservative. Agree?
I think it's way past nanny conservative. I think the basis of progressivism, and conservatives just progressives with old ladies driving the wheel, is Christianity without the mythology. And their whole worldview is to impose their Puritanism on the rest of the country. I think it was H.L. Mencken who sets into the fact that Puritanism is the terrifying fear that someone out there somewhere is having a good
fun.
time.
Yeah.
And that's what he's hearkening to.
Yeah. Then we agree. I've been told I have 30 seconds left. Does anyone want to ask me any questions?
What do you like best about me?
I think it's your pin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
I have a
sweet.
question.
That's sweet.
What else do you like best about Michael?
I think that's it.
That's all there is.
Anything on
just a
Joe?
pin.
No.
I'm done.
Thank you, Andy.
Sorry.
Coming up, can a weight scale in a gym be offensive? We'll chew the fat next. But first, Kennedy.
Hello, Red Eye Fire Jugglers. On the next Canadalia, the Congressional Budget Office breaks down the numbers on the GOP healthcare bill. Can Republicans handle the truth? Peter Suderman and some guy named Andrew Levy join me.
A university in Canada has removed the scales from its gym because they don't want students obsessing over their weight. Carleton University's manager of health and wellness said, quote, "We don't believe in being fixated on weight has any positive effect on your health and well-being." Well, what does he know about health and wellness? Some students support the decision. One woman noted, "Scales are very triggering. I think people are being insensitive because they simply don't understand. They think eating disorders are a choice when they're actually a serious illness." Others argued that certain athletes, like boxers, need to be able to check their weight, and that the school shouldn't kowtow to a small group of complainers. After some online backlash, some online backlash. I get it. Yes. The university now says it will reconsider the decision. To be fair, the scale was somewhat triggering. Look at that. I think Shamu, people like Shamu, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily an insult.
Was that Rosie's pet name?
Why did you, have you done a show without mentioning Rosie?
Yeah, of course. Sometimes I'll mention Kelly Osbourne.
Michael, the scales are, they're needed. People have to make their weight. They got to weigh themselves.
I weigh myself every day and send it to my coach. But this woman's crazy. First of all, eating disorders aren't actually about your weight. It's about control and losing a sense of control. So the scale's not going to be triggering. It's how you look in the mirror. And as someone who has a full-blown eating disorder, I'm not even kidding at all.
Yeah.
The scale, they're going to find a way to weigh themselves. They're going to weigh their food. They're going to weigh themselves in their dorm room. So this is just absolutely nonsensical. And if you're worried about your eating disorder, you're not going to the gym. You're not going to see it there anyway. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, yeah, that does make. I mean, the thing is, that, Kathy, you disagree? You think do you think scales are triggering?
Well, yeah, the anorexics do go to gyms. I mean,
they over-exercise, yes.
They over-exerise, so they do go to gyms.
But that's not an eating disorder. That's a success story.
But he's right. Isn't Michael correct that they're going to do it anyway? They look in the mirror and they see someone fatter than they are.
Right. So then the scale, it'll trigger it. And wrestlers and boxers, I mean, they have eating disorders because they have to weigh themselves so much. So I think these poor people weigh themselves and then they get the eating disorders, and it could be a whole cycle.
But it's just these are schools.
The mirrors are much more triggering than the scales. Come on.
They should get rid of all the mirrors too.
Yeah.
They can't get rid of everything. What if you have if you're allergic to chalk, you can't take away the blackboards?
The mirrors are more triggering because sometimes I'll look in the mirror and see someone more successful than I am, and then I realize I've had a lot of NyQuil early in the day. The scale issue, they're not being forcibly weighed. They can avoid the scale. It's not like the scale is, they're not at Hansel and Gretel University where they're checking them all the time. If you are triggered by the idea of a scale, if you have an issue with a scale in a room, your issue is not with a scale in a room. Right. You have issues of your own creation. And there's got to be a limit to we can't have every triggering thing removed. I mean, at this point, it's an inanimate object. Just don't look at it. Don't care about it.
But Joe, triggers are inanimate objects also.
Well, I think some of the people complaining are inanimate objects. So they would be worried about seeing a scale that might weigh them.
Fair.
It's like, how many things are we going to ban? We're running out of nouns.
We're running out of things to ban. Is that true, Joe?
Not yet.
No.
Because if we're going to ban triggers at gyms, we need to ban treadmills. People fall off those sometimes, and it is embarrassing.
Yeah.
And they should ban people with big muscles. They make other people not feel like they have as big a muscles.
You're making sense.
But that's the thing, though.
I mean, you
Like,
see
some
other
gyms
people
don't
at the
have that.
gym, you get jealous of them, right?
I got a lot of nasty looks
Yeah. People.
because of my muscles.
Because of your big muscles.
I got that. I got that. I
Thank
got
you.
that.
But isn't it true that this is why people, Kathy, you know, for instance, they have that chain of gyms just for women because women are
Right.
insecure because they're getting leered at by men, right?
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so they're gonna so get rid of the weights, the scales at the gyms, and then maybe the women will return and work out with the men. And well, men have eating disorders as well. So just let's get rid of the mirrors and the scales and other things.
I never know if you're serious, Kathy, but I hope they keep the scales and they tell those complainers to go home. Coming up, are you feeling guilty about your eating habits? I'll make you guilt-free after the break. Coming up tomorrow on the next Red Eye, Remy Spencer, Pat Dixon, Kennedy, and Andrew Schultz. How many orders of mozzarella sticks is too many? A delivery receipt has gone viral after the customer felt the need to defend their craving for fried cheese. The receipt, seen here, shows 3 orders of mozzarella sticks, deep-fried pickles, slaw, and a Diet Coke. I'm glad he added the diet, right? Yeah. In the comment section, the guy or gal wrote, "Yes, I meant to order 3 mozzarella sticks. Please don't judge me. I'm having a bad week," and was so excited they were back on the menu. The owner of Fresco's Fish and Chips in Toronto sent a pic of the receipt to his daughter, who posted it to Reddit, as daughters do. Anyway, this confirms what I've long believed. Canadians will eat anything as long as it's in the shape of a stick. Those are Canadian meat sticks. Yeah. Michael Malice.
Yes, sir.
I say people should stop being ashamed of their food choices. I'm sick of hearing that.
First of all, I'm glad you pointed out that Reddit's for girls and 4chan's for boys was the implication. I agree with you completely. People should not apologize to anyone for their food. If you're having a bad day and you want to gorge on your mozzarella sticks or whatever disgusting you want, as long as you purge afterwards, it's perfectly fine.
Wait.
But the point is, I am in shape, but I eat gummy candy because it has, protein in it, and I have a disgusting diet habit, but it works for me. So if this person wants to have their binge and have a bad day, more power to them.
More power to them. But Joe, I'm feeling like that there's something wrong with leaving this note.
Yeah, I thought the comment section was for how you wanted your food prepared. I don't understand why someone would. If they sell cheese sticks, they know the deal. Sacred bond.
Yes. Yeah, they know what they're doing. I think this guy was proud, the restaurant owner, wasn't he, Kathy?
Right. I mean, he posted the receipt. But what's sad, it's almost like when you go to the pharmacy and you're embarrassed of what your prescription is. It's like some people, you
Like
got to
what?
get.
Yeah. What is it? What do you?
I don't know.
What prescription embarrasses you, Kathy?
I don't know, but sometimes the looks I get from the pharmacist are a little odd, and maybe you feel a little guilty, and you wish they wouldn't judge and post it on the internet for everyone to see.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Well, maybe she shouldn't order 30 boxes of Sudafed, right?
He's got some cooking to do.
Cook.
Yeah.
Don't judge me. Don't
I
judge.
think they made a good point. Restaurant receipts are not a place for judgment. They are a place for you to express your views on same-sex marriage. And this is the first time I've seen one of these where I was like, oh, this doesn't seem like a BS story.
Yes.
I like you said LOL and a smiley face, and for the record, doubled up on the Diet Cokes. I believe it was 2 Diet Cokes.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Very special thanks to my entire panel. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, or lady. And why don't we take a break and enjoy some mozzarella sticks.